Hello everyone. My chair is a little squeaky, sorry for that. What we want to get into today is one of the things that I hear most commonly from people when I talk to them is they've been in the corporate world for a really long time. They have what is traditionally a desk job. It might be in a traditional industry or it might be in a newer tech industry. But the commonality is that they're not really sure what they could take from what they're currently doing and transition outside. And the reason for that is largely because most of our careers have been built around building the skill sets within those careers. And so that's why oftentimes we think, okay, well, we'll just go change companies, because that's the most logical transition, right? Is to go from one company doing something to another company doing something similar. You've used those skill sets that you're bringing forward from your previous job into your new job, and the environment's changed or something enough has changed to make it palatable to you. But it kind of leaves people in the lurch that are not really digging what they currently are doing and don't really look forward to doing it somewhere else, and it won't be enough just to change environments. And so then you run into this roadblock of well, what can I do based on what I have done to help me go and do something different? And so today what I want to talk about with you are 5 questions that you can ask yourself to help you better identify what your transferable skills are. And, this isn't an exhaustive questions list. There are other ways to do this, but I think it's what we're trying to achieve here is we're trying to reframe what you currently know how to do and think of it in a different way to help you translate it into a different industry or role or environment in the future. Okay, so the first question that I want you to ask yourself is, what do people regularly ask you for help with, and why do they come to you specifically? When you ask yourself this question, ask it in the sense of do they come to you because you're a great chaos coordinator? Do they come to you because you can resolve problems super quickly? Do they come to you because you have a network of people that you can rely on to help you achieve the objective faster? Are you good at seeing people's blind spots or seeing a project's blind spots? Or are you good because you can see you're solutions focused and you're not always critiquing things to look for the problems, but you are envisioning the solution first? These are things that, regardless of whatever industry you're in, knowing this about yourself will help you reframe your experiences in a way to support you doing what you want to do next. So it's good to ask yourself that number 1 question, just generally. Okay, so the next question you should ask yourself is, what tools, systems, or workflows have you navigated well and become proficient at? This is, kind of an obvious one, but there are reasons that you want to think through this, because on our resumes, we put things like, oh, we're good at Microsoft Excel or Suite or whatever the things are. But what we're really trying to get at with that question is, if you are good at Excel, it also means you're probably good at pattern recognition, data analysis to some degree, scenario planning, or maybe if you're using more recently developed tools like Zapier in your day-to-day environment, you're also probably familiar enough with automation in a way that can be helpful to people. And automation is going to be a growing theme in the future. It's not going away. So think of the things that you're using in your day-to-day tasks that you wouldn't think make you different, and think of what their function is actually supporting. And then that's actually the skill that you've developed. So familiarizing yourself with automation is going to support you in another environment in which, for instance, if they're just integrating automation into their old legacy systems. Okay, so another thing could be if you're used to using Salesforce or HubSpot, I think is what it's called. I come from a traditional industry. We don't use that, and I don't generally work with customers on that side. But if you work with customers on a routine basis, contributing to the success of the customer experience is really a highly valuable skill these days, because so much of current business is about retention and then conversion. And so if you can be part of that process, or if you have experience in that process, then that's something that relates into another industry. So think of it in terms of that. What am I doing now that I just do as part of my job that at its core is really achieving this objective for the business that I'm supporting. Okay, so the third question I want you to ask yourself is where have you led, organized, communicated, or taught something in your career? Now, this can be in the frame of reference of all of your life. So a lot of people are maybe not leaders by definition in their current roles, but they are in other capacities of their life. So like you're, a scout leader or a spiritual retreat organizer, or maybe you've organized a local supper club for your friends even. So think about it in terms of where have I demonstrated my ability to lead, even if not reflected in my current corporate position. The objective there is everyone wants a leader, but also understanding that this is the work that you're doing for free. This is non-paid work, but it's still work, and you acquire skills by doing it. Coordinating a group of people in any dynamic, if you can do it well, is actually a very marketable skill, because getting people headed in the same direction and arriving on time and starting on time and managing their time well, if you can do all of that, then that's something that you can carry forward and demonstrate in your professional life in the future, even if you don't have to now. Okay, so the fourth question I want you to ask yourself is in a similar nature to number 3, but it's more specific to what we call invisible labor. So this is related to what are you doing outside of your job now? So if you're a single parent, you're carrying the weight of both roles in your life. You know how to build networks to support your success, most likely. Like, let's just be real, like that's a very hard job. And it's what we call invisible labor. So no one's ever gonna pat you on the back and say, oh, good job that you've developed these great support networks for yourself. But if you've done that, then you can do that in any aspect of your life. So that's something to look at. Another good example of this is like, have you ever been in a dynamic where there's a lot of conflict and you've been the voice of reason? I think navigating emotional intelligence in today's world, whether you're in corporate or outside of corporate, is a really undervalued skill set these days, because it seems like there is a lot more contention just generally in the environments these days. People are very argumentative and, we have some tricky social dynamics going on in the world today. If you can be that person that is the calm in the storm, or that voice of reason that can get everyone centered again and defuse or de-escalate a situation, that is a highly, highly valuable skill. And I also think that generally comes through in people's spirit. So I want you to think of that as actually being a skill that you can translate from your your social life or your personal life into your professional role in a marketable way in the future. So another example of this is like managing family emergencies. Our generation is sandwiched between having children and having our parents, and some of us are going through the aging of our parents already. And so we're starting to see the emergence of more family emergencies, so to speak. Managing through a crisis, while may not be part of maybe like an engineering role, is definitely a marketable skill set. So think of things like that. If you're the person that can actually coordinate your group of people through crisis, managing their emotions and the urgency and the priority of whatever requirements there are, that is something that you should be accounting for. So this is meant to be a high level assessment, but I want you to ask yourself these questions, because what it does is it forces us to reframe our regular life and to pull out the skills and experiences that we've had that would not ordinarily be on our resume, to think of how we can actually sell them for our future. So the last question I want you to ask yourself is, what personal strengths do you bring to every environment that you enter? Are you easily adaptable? Can you go with the flow? Are you the person that everyone calls? Are you able to quickly assess a situation and determine the priority of what needs to happen? Are you the planner? Would you consider yourself the voice of reason? Do you bring logic to every situation? Like, are you the person that can find the holes in an argument or a situation and navigate through those with people? Whatever you go and do next, it's going to be different than what you've probably been doing. And it's good to know what kind of person you are and what you're bringing forward at a very core level. We want to create a reference bank of material that in times of doubt, you can sit there and say, okay, but in every situation I come to, I am an easygoing person that people like to work with. So at least I have that to hang my hat on. And I'm super organized and I can navigate through chaos pretty well. This is something that maybe no one's gonna ask you like this question, but it's something that you need to know for yourself, because as part of your transition, the path isn't necessarily clear. You will have times of doubt and you want to be able to refer to the best parts of yourselves quickly and easily to get through those times. So we've made it through all 5 questions. The goal and the objective of this activity is really to highlight the fact that if your resume is your highlight reel, these questions and these aspects of your person and your history and your experience are meant to be the documentary that would support that highlight reel. So my hope is that this content was helpful for you. I know I was a little bit long-winded this time, and I'm sorry for that. Again, I have the Career Clarity Compass worksheet that you can pull from the description that's linked below. If you like this sort of content, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And then also let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'll read through them. And if there's things that we can, address in a future video, I would love to go and work on that. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video, which is how to make money without a 9-to-5. That's kind of a fun topic. I'll talk to you later. Bye.